Hello, friends, and welcome to Real Reviews. My name is Jamison Rabbit. This man's name is Mike Roth, and he gives his consent for this show.
Oh boy, you just totally brought that. Yes, I do. I give this. We never needed my consent, by the way.
Oh, spoiler alert! So, Mike, this week we have an interesting show. I think we've got some diverse movies to talk about.
Yeah.
Before we dive into what's on the marquee, though, this week was the Wisconsin Film Festival. As we're recording, it is the final day of the Wisconsin Film Festival.
And you're here.
And I'm here. I spent a lot of time. I spent the better part of the last 7 days working at the Wisconsin Film Festival, watching movies at the Film Fest. It's amazing. It's an amazing thing. And so I'm going to talk about some of the movies today. I saw a couple of the movies, but it was pretty great. We got some great movies again this year, some great experiences, some great directors, Q&As.
At the Wisconsin Film Festival.
At the Wisconsin Film Festival.
We're making that clear.
It was a really big success. Ran into a lot of people that I hadn't seen in years that were there to catch movies.
Yeah.
It's a really good time.
I hear you saw Nick Offerman.
Yeah, I got to see Nick Offerman there, a bunch of other filmmakers. It was pretty cool. And I'll talk about Nick Offerman later as I talk about the movie that he was there to promote. It was actually Nick Offerman Day, the entire day. He was there hanging out, showing 4 different films.
I was going to say, these national holidays just pop out of nowhere.
It was a national holiday. It was Nick Offerman Day. Pretty great day. But yeah, it was really great. And again, this year, a lot of fun. I recommend anyone, if you haven't gone. Next year is the 20th anniversary, the 20th annual Wisconsin Film Fest. It is around this time every year, mid-April of every year. Put it on your calendars. Go to it. It's a great time.
Blair Witch Project was part of that, wasn't it, when it first came out?
I don't know. I was not here at the time. I was overseas when the Blair Witch Project came out.
It was a big thing back then.
I hear.
Kind of a dumb movie, though. Yeah. Sorry.
I saw it over in Germany.
Did you like it better in Germany?
Weird experience. Internet was very rough over there, so I truly believe that movie was real when it came out. Anyways, let's jump in. One of the movies that I saw at the Film Fest this week is also going to be coming out big in theaters in the upcoming weeks. That is Personal Shopper. Personal Shopper from director Olivier Assayas, starring Kristen Stewart as Maureen. Maureen is she's a girl who is living life in limbo. She's a medium.
Okay.
Her twin brother recently died from a heart condition, and she is in Paris searching for a way to make contact with him. She has the same heart condition that he died from, so she's told to avoid any intense physical efforts or emotions. Oh. So that works perfectly for Kristen Stewart.
Yeah.
Please don't show any emotions. Done. I'm your gal. So she finances this being in Paris to do this by being a personal shopper to a big fashionista. Okay. She goes out and gets the clothes for this lady named Kira. Kira is an overbearing, hard to deal with fashion model. And they do not get along very well. And partway through the movie, Maureen is contacted via text message by this anonymous person asking these really probing questions. She has no idea who it is. And for a large chunk of the movie, we are reading text conversations between her and this anonymous voice. This unknown texter starts playing games with her, kind of challenging her to do things that don't feel comfortable to her. Okay. Throughout the movie, this kind of ghostly, dream-like presence will appear and then quickly be gone, kind of unexplained. A lot of times she doesn't even see it. You as the viewer see it, she doesn't see it. So you kind of know a little more than she does in certain parts. And they introduce a lot of plot threads, a lot of different things where she's searching for contact with this presence. You have this unknown texter. It suddenly turns into this horror movie in the final act. This is being described as a horror movie, and a lot like Get Out was earlier this year. I don't think it's horror. Suspense thriller. It's a slow build. You also have her relationship with Kira. You have all of these things going on. Her going to the doctor, figuring out if she's going to die. A boyfriend back home that she's kind of ignoring. There's a lot of plot threads. And they do a decent job of kind of wrapping some of them up, but they leave a bit of a mess at the end. Kristen Stewart is somebody that I'm not a huge fan of.
No one is.
I thought she was really good in this, though. She was kind of perfectly cast for this. The movie was interesting, and at the end, it was like in the last 15 minutes maybe, that it really got like, whoa, this is more than I thought it was going to be. But there was still a lot of mess left from opening all these plot threads and not wrapping a lot of them up. And they want you to kind of think about some of the things, but some of them I kind of would have liked a little more clarity to.
Yeah.
And so the movie itself was interesting. It isn't a horror movie. If you go in, it's listed as a horror movie. It is not. It's a slow thriller. And so I think depending on your feelings for Kristen Stewart, like if you truly hate Kristen Stewart, you're probably not going to like this movie.
I really don't dislike her. Her acting is always left me a little wanting.
And I think this plays into her strengths and avoids her weaknesses.
Okay.
I think they did a good job of hiding her weaknesses in this movie. And so I give Personal Shopper 3 stars. It's a decent thriller.
You know, it makes a big difference when you actually find an actor and find the perfect part for him.
Right.
Like me, I don't like Mark Wahlberg's acting.
Come on.
But he was perfect in Boogie Nights because he played a guy who can't act. Perfect spot for him.
And you didn't really know how bad of an actor he was at the time because he was just Marky Mark.
That was his one of his first movies, and then later on he was like, "Wow,
you're like,
he's
still terrible."
Dirk Diggler.
Exactly. What do you have on the marquee, sir?
I have one of the major movies, Boss Baby.
Oh yeah,
made big bucks this weekend. Directed by Tom McGrath. We have Alec Baldwin. He plays. Babies are made, in case you didn't know this.
Tell me how that works.
In a mystical area where if you tickle the baby, it becomes a baby for people down on Earth. If you tickle a baby and it doesn't laugh, it becomes management.
I love the premise of that.
So, Boss Baby, played by Alec Baldwin, he is part of this huge business that kind of needs to reallocate love because they're finding love is a finite resource that's being given way too much to puppies. So he's coming down to Earth to infiltrate a couple of employees who work at this huge conglomerate that makes new puppies. And he needs to find out what the new puppy is going to be so he can kind of stop it and have love bring back to, regular babies. We also have a voice. The adult version of it is Tobey Maguire, but Tim, he played by Miles Christopher Bakshi.
Oh, sure.
We're going to go with that.
Yep.
He wanted just to be a single kid. He loved having all his parents love, and to have this new baby who he knows talks, but no one else does, is just a cramp in his lifestyle. He wants to get Boss Baby his information so he could get out of there, and then Tim could be back to being the single kid. There is a lot of clever things about this movie. I thought this was going to be one of your typical, let's put an adult voice into a baby.
Yeah, I thought it was going to be
movie.
like Baby Huey.
Yeah, or Look Who's Talking, or tons of these movies where they just take an adult human and put it into something that really can't speak. And I was thinking I was going to dislike this movie right away.
Yeah.
But really, they had some clever ideas with this baby. It just felt kind of fresh. They muck it up, though, with a lot of just terrible toddler humor, bathroom humor, punches and sensitive spots, stuff like that.
It felt to me almost like a really long America's Funniest Home Videos video of babies doing cute things and funny things. Isn't that silly because it's a baby?
Yeah.
It felt there was a lot of that. Baby farted baby powder.
Yeah.
Let's go back to that joke.
And then when it comes down to animation, it was parts where it was actually pretty beautiful and cool when it went to cell shading of Tim's imagination. But the main meat of the animation was a little cutesy and generic for me.
Yeah, yeah. I was going in with very minimal expectations, and I got what I was expecting, I think.
Yeah.
It was fine. Good voice actors. Pretty standard fare.
Yeah.
It didn't break any new ground.
No.
Wasn't terrible.
But it sure made a lot of money.
It finally dethroned Beauty and the Beast.
Yeah.
The first movie to do so.
Yeah.
Yeah. Big time stuff. You know what? An animated movie these days, really, you got to really screw up not to make some money on an animated movie.
Yeah. True.
I mean, there's a huge audience, a huge hunger for animated movies.
And when you take kids to a movie theater, it's usually more than one. You don't see too many parents with just one kid. They bring their friends and siblings and stuff like that. So yeah, it is a cash cow.
So ultimately,
start making animated movies.
Should we do it?
Yeah, I got a flip book.
All right, let's do it. What did you ultimately give Boss Baby?
I gave it a 2.5. Mediocre on the scale. My daughter loved it. She laughed her butt off. I didn't laugh, but yeah, I could appreciate some of the parts of this movie.
Yeah, I concur. I gave it 2.5 stars as well. My 11-year-old gave it 4.5 stars.
Wow.
Yeah, he was trying to convince me to give it a 4.5, but I landed with you 2.5 stars. Feels a little more right.
Yeah, it feels good being there.
It's great to just love every movie you see, though.
Yeah.
Every movie walks out of 4.5, 5 stars. Loved it. Best movie I've seen.
I really wish I could do that. I really could.
Remember those days?
Yeah.
When you weren't just beaten down by life in terrible movies? Boy, those were the days.
Just watch anything. Just woohoo!
Yeah. Having said that, let's move into the next movie I have on the marquee. It is a movie called The Hero from director Brett Haley. It stars Sam Elliott as Lee Hayden. Lee is a struggling actor who had a hit like 40 years ago as the title character of this movie, The Hero, this Western. And now he's 70 years old, facing his mortality and wanting something new in his life. He's lonely. He's dying of pancreatic cancer. He has no one that he really feels close to. His daughter, played by Kristen Ritter, is estranged from him, really doesn't want anything to do with him. He has this much younger girl, played by Laura Prepon, you see there, who's kind of chasing after him, and he's not quite sure. He's kind of bewildered why this young girl would be after him. His one and only friend is played by Nick Offerman. Nick Offerman is his stoner philosopher buddy, who he goes to get weed and talk about the world. But they're not really, he can't tell him, he doesn't feel comfortable telling him that he's dying. And so he's at this serious crossroads in his life, and suddenly he starts to, because of Laura Prepon kind of chasing after him, he starts to find happiness just as he's dying, which is just either a great thing or tragic, right? Depending on how you look at it. Like, I've waited all these years, and now I finally find happiness, and I have months to live.
Yeah.
Great. And Sam Elliott's charm in this movie is on full display. I mean, it is his voice. He's still got the voice. He's still got the mustache. I'll argue no one wears a cowboy hat better than Sam Elliott. He's pretty great, and it's pretty interesting. When I saw this movie at the fest, the director was there, like I said, and Nick Offerman was there, and the director said this movie is a love letter to Sam Elliott. He made a movie 2 years ago called I'll See You in My Dreams with Sam Elliott and Blythe Danner. And it was like, he's my favorite actor. So he wrote this script for Sam Elliott, and he said if Sam Elliott turned this movie down, he wasn't making the movie with anyone else. Only made for him.
That's cool.
And yeah, I mean, it's a movie that has these beautifully crafted characters, these 4 main characters, and how they work. It's sad, but it's funny. Nick Offerman has these amazing, he has all of the great kill lines for jokes. I mean, he just punctuates great jokes. And opens and closes with this great kind of bookend comedic act. I really enjoyed this movie. I mean, I enjoyed it quite a bit.
I actually think the concept is magnificent.
Yeah.
I mean, really, if you were dying, would you want everybody to treat you like you're dying? Would you tell them? I mean, there's a couple of people you have to tell.
He struggles with it, and he struggles with, do I try and resurrect my career this late in life? Do I want to leave one last, because I'm known for one thing.
Yeah.
And it's kind of that blessing and curse.
Yeah.
Everyone knows me as the hero. That was 40 years ago.
Yeah.
It reminds me every time someone says, hey, you were great in The Hero, it reminds me, I haven't done anything else in 40 years. And so he's battling with that. He's battling with all these things. And like I said, it's just a beautiful piece. Great characters written. It's a movie that comes out in theaters in late June, early July. It'll be actually coming out hopefully in more mainstream theaters. But I give it 4.5 out of 5 stars. It was really tremendous.
Do you think this is going to be a major release where I will be able to see it at the theater?
So I'm guessing because I'll See You in My Dreams was like a middling release 2 years ago. It came to some places, didn't come to others. I'm guessing this will get a little bit more because of the cast and because of how successful the first one was, that maybe this one gets a little boost. I'm hoping it does.
I remember when you went to see my Meet Earl and the Dying Girl.
Right.
And you said it was great, and a couple of months later it came out into the theaters. And it didn't last very long, but I was really glad that it did get a mainstream push.
Yeah, so this is one of those that I'd say store away in your mind. The hero for this summer. If you see it, come and check it out. It's well worth it. So, yeah. What do you have, sir?
The last major release of last week. We have Ghost in the Shell. I'm going to tell you this story, and we'll compare it to the original a little bit later.
Tell me about it.
Director Rupert Sanders, also known for Snow White and the Huntsman.
Ooh, that's a great movie.
That's what I'm thinking. Scarlett Johansson plays the Major. Major is a cyborg the company makes. She's going to be a state-of-art new weapon with very minimal human parts to it. It's essentially just her brain. Yeah. And throughout the movie, they remind you that her brain is her ghost and it's in the shell. Well, at least 3 times.
I get it.
Yeah. In the original, they don't have to tell you that, but this one they tell you 3 times. So Scarlett Johansson, or Major, she is a fighting machine for Sector 9. Her whole thing is to go out there and pretty much save people from corporate espionage. She unfortunately has a memory wipe, and very RoboCop-ish, this movie, where it's pretty much about her trying to figure out who she was. She comes across another evil person who is kind of doing the same thing, kind of in the same line that she is.
He's like the previous incarnation to her.
Yeah.
Kind of glitchy.
His name is Kuze. He has kind of a Stephen Hawking's, his first voice program type sound to him.
Yeah, he's not happy either.
No. And she is also with a partner, Batu, who is played by Piatu Asbach.
Yeah, buddy.
Who also, he's English sounding sometimes. Right. And sometimes he is not English sounding. Yeah. This movie actually does a good job at its look. It picks a lot of pieces from the original animation and its sequel, Innocence. There's a lot of bits and pieces in it where you could look at this and go, wow, this is really beautiful. But the choreography, the acting, I'm not even going to get into the whitewashing controversy because it's really a non-issue. If you've seen the original anime, Scarlett Johansson does look a lot like the original Major.
That's not the issue I have with this movie.
Tell me what your issues are. They might be the same as mine.
My issues are kind of double-edged. Like, I really like the look of this movie.
Yeah.
I thought that they tried really hard to duplicate some of the things from the movie, or from the original source material, but they weren't able to capture the feel.
No.
And so you could almost like doing like Van Zant's shot-for-shot remake of Psycho. You can copy the shot, but completely miss the feel. And I thought that that's where they were in this. Like, there's certain scenes where you're like, yep, I remember that. But they missed out on the emotions, the character development between the characters. The partnership between she and Batu feels nothing like the original.
The entire story is nothing like the original story. The original story is about, it's introspective. It's about grasping onto the now, knowing who you are, and being comfortable with your future. Where this movie is very Americanized, where not only did I felt like they felt the need to dummy it down for us.
Absolutely.
And actually spell out everything that was
It's
happening.
watered down. Everything in it is watered down.
Instead of being about a movie about the now, it's about being afraid of technology and getting revenge for the past, just like RoboCop and a lot of these other movies that we are already done. Yes, visually they lifted a lot of this movie, but the essence of this movie is completely different. You have this Major who's supposed to be, in the animated cartoon, a very hard force to reckon with. She is the top of her line. In this movie, she is caught unceremoniously 3 times. The first time, she let herself be caught, but it was a laughably bad scene. The main villain in that scene looked like a glazed donut, and he was just like laughing weird. It was just a weird scene. Every other time, boom, just caught like that. And she is supposed to be tough. And to have this movie resemble more of RoboCop than it did of the original Ghost in the Shell is a travesty.
Yeah. I mean, and I don't dislike this movie. There's a lot about this movie that I enjoyed. And I think Scarlett Johansson is probably the best actress who is great at action that we have.
Yeah.
If you take acting chops action
Yeah.
ability.
Yeah.
I like her quite a bit. She's an underrated action star. And there's a lot of beautiful technical aspects of this movie. And there's enjoyable moments in this movie. But ultimately, I feel like this movie's going to be forgettable in a couple of years, whereas the source material is not.
Well,
the source material has hung with me for 20 years. This movie, I feel like it won't be memorable. There's nothing in it that's really memorable to me.
Well, I'll always remember, and I'm sure the company will always remember, they're going to lose about $60 million.
They are going to lose a ton of money on it. Now, there's things like the spider tank I thought looked great.
Yeah.
The vehicles looked pretty close to the source material.
I love the shots where they're back of the city, and part of the beautiful parts of the animation movie is pulling out and looking at the cityscape. This movie did that extremely well. Some beautiful scenes. But
they watered down the characters.
They made it vanilla. They really. But the first animated film is sexy. It's uber violent. It is smart. They made the 2017. They vanillized it more than one way.
It's funny that rewatching the original now, 20 years. I rewatched before I saw this. It still feels modern. It still holds up. It doesn't feel dated.
It's because people don't copy this concept very much. The original is about embracing technology, looking towards the future, knowing a little. It's more of a coming of age story than anything. Where for some reason they feel like in order to make a movie, you have to Americanize this in a revenge thing, where you're supposed to be terrified of technology. When people got technology in the original, they're like, yeah, if you didn't get technology, you're the weird guy who doesn't have a cell phone. Where in this movie, oh, you got cybernetic eyes? Oh, darn it. Well, I guess things will be a little easier when you're working. It's not like that. And
it's too bad. It's too bad.
It is too bad.
But you know what? I think we're kind of close on where we're at. What did you give Ghost in the Shell?
I give it a 2.5. I have some strong emotions about this movie. The more I think about it, the less I like it.
But that's not good.
This is a beautiful movie to look at. I suggest seeing the original, though. I really do.
And that's kind of where I'm at. I give it 3 stars out of 5. There's things I like and there's things that I have issues with. But I highly recommend going to watch the original if you haven't, or if you haven't watched it in a while. Watch it. It's available on Hulu. All of the entire run is on Hulu right now.
And the television series is also great. The standalone complex.
Watch that. This is fine. But if this is a companion piece, it feels more popcorny than gritty like the original. So that's where I'm at with it. Speaking of movies that technology really holds up on years later, let's take a look back for our movie throwback. Let's go back to 1995, sir. Another movie about cybernetics and all about the internet and all the crazy things that are going to happen in the year 2021.
They even have a shared actor.
Yes, they do.
Yes,
they do.
crazy.
Takeshi Kitano is in it. Yeah. Let's talk about Johnny Mnemonic from director Robert Longo. We have Keanu Reeves as Johnny Mnemonic. Like I say, it is 2021, 4 years from now, sir. So this is a glimpse into our future. The internet is big.
Oh, yeah.
A high-tech virus that has been caused by high-speed internet is taking over. Johnny Mnemonic is a guy who carries data in his quote-unquote wet-wired brain. That's a gross phrase.
Gigs.
Yeah, look
crazy.
And so he transports this data in his mind. But if he carries the data for too long, it will corrupt and kill him. Oh, man. Along the way, you have Dolph Lundgren as the street preacher showing up. You have Ice-T shows up as J-Bone. Like I said, Takeshi Kitano is in it from Ghost in the Shell. And my man Henry Rollins in here as Spider. Love some Henry Rollins. This movie is, I'm rewatching it, and this movie is hilarious.
Yeah.
For the use of the virtual reality internet. In 4 years, we're all going to wear headsets and Nintendo Power Gloves.
Oh, yeah.
And doing a lot of moving things around. Grunting as you're moving things around. This is really hard in virtual reality.
I love these kind of movies, the cyberpunk movies. I played cyberpunk a long time ago too. It follows it to a T. what's crazy is watching a movie back then. This movie was like, oh wow, this is going to be the future. This is high tech. You take this seriously. Now you're watching it and you're laughing. You're like, oh my gosh, you guys think that gigs is a lot of
that
memory?
technology was eclipsed 2 years after this movie came out. This movie unfortunately came out in the early days of dial-up internet, and who could imagine something high speed? 600 gigs of data. It's going to be insane. 2 years later, people are like, that movie. Obsolete.
I got a watch now that carries that much information. Poor Johnny had to die for it.
Oh, man. But Keanu, though, he was really putting in some effort in this.
Yep, and this, if you have to say anything about this movie, it is creative. With the preacher and the dolphin and everything.
There's a lot of insanity going on in this movie.
This has to be a cult favorite.
This is guilty pleasure all the way for me.
Yeah.
Like, I know this movie's terrible, but I really enjoy it.
You know, if the Alamo has a poster for something like this, I would love to get
something. Yeah, you want to get an alternative poster for it? Johnny Mnemonic. Also, one of the tougher movies to spell.
Yeah.
When I'm trying to type it up.
Oh, I just stopped trying to say it into Siri.
Johnny Mnemonic? I'm terrible at spelling.
I would suggest watching this for the giggle.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. It's a good time.
Yeah.
It's a terrible movie.
A terrible movie, but it's funny. It's
looking back in the year 2017, it's really enjoyable in my mind.
Yeah.
Maybe it's just because we are of that age.
I
think everyone can enjoy that.
I can enjoy any time frame movie where they totally get it wrong. It's so cool.
Right, exactly. All right, let's take a look ahead at what is coming out the weekend of April 14th. We have 3 movies that will be on the marquee that week, sir. The first one is The Fate of the Furious. Fast and the Furious. Is this 8?
Can you believe it's only been a year? It's been so long since the last one.
I have things about these Fast and Furious movies, but
you know, the last one, I wasn't expecting a good time out of it, but it was a good time.
Was it?
I thought so. I thought you gave it an okay review. You didn't hate it. Yeah, you didn't hate it.
I don't remember. Was the last one the one where Paul Walker died?
The one where they jumped the car from skyscraper to skyscraper?
Is that the one with Paul Walker dead in it?
Yeah. Well, he's not dead. He's just not there. He is.
Yeah.
Oh, wait a minute. No, his face was in there.
Yeah, his face was in it. The next movie we have on the marquee is a movie called Spark. It's an animated movie about a teenage monkey and his friends who go into space.
Not looking forward to this. This is
sure?
terrible.
This feels
terrible
like it's
trailers.
right. It feels like it's right up your alley, man. I know you enjoy these movies. And the last movie we have is The Lost City of Z, based on a novel, I believe. And this movie, if you're watching us right now, it is closing the film fest out.
Oh.
I was hoping to go see it early, but no such luck. Okay. But Lost City of Z, starring Charlie Hunnam. You know him as Jax on Sons of Anarchy, and King Arthur coming soon.
Oh, I'm looking forward
Gonna go explore some pyramids or something. Can't remember what he's doing.
Really?
He's an architect. He's like an Indiana Jones type guy, I think.
Yeah.
I don't know.
We'll find out, right?
Yeah, we will. April 14th, we'll find out, hopefully. Before we leave you, we want to thank our sponsor, The Palace, Marcus Theaters. Thank you for sponsoring our show. We always appreciate it. I'll tell you what, I missed some Dream Loungers this week.
Yeah.
I need to get into a Dream Lounger.
Those are so comfortable.
They really
are. I was actually talking about it. I took someone to see Ghost in the Shell, and we were talking about the old seat theaters.
No, thank you.
Oh, no. I can't go back to that.
Thank you.
I'm
Marcus, thank you for sponsoring Real Reviews. We appreciate that. Next week, we're going to be coming at you talking about, some movies. Yeah. We've got Smurfs.
I got Smurfs.
We've got Going in Style. We've got The Case for Christ. And I'm going to have some surprises for you as well.
Thank you.
Yeah. Next week, we'll also have a special surprise. We're going to get an award tonight, sir. So next week, we might have a little something sitting here.
Nice.
Show off our wares.
No one looks forward to an award more than this guy.
Very good. But until that time, my name is Jamison.
I'm Mike Roth.
Thanks for watching.